I think we're just about to get started. We're going to wait for a few people to jump on.
Go get a drink. Let's go get a drink.
Fantastic. Well, hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm so excited to be here with all of you. It's great to talk to you about what's happening this month and be able to celebrate Hispanic and Latinx month in South Jersey. I know that there's a lot of great events coming up, and hopefully you'll be able to share some of that with us. But I also wanted to just introduce everybody that we have on tonight. We've got some great community advocates, Bert Lopez, who has been so fantastic here in Atlantic County. Will Rojas has been just such a champ. And we also have Mayor Michael Santiago from Millville, who is also the first Hispanic mayor of Millville. So really glad to have you all on tonight, and I know we want to keep these conversations going, so hopefully this is the first of many. But we also wanted to talk tonight not just about how we're celebrating, but also acknowledge the ways that our community has been challenged during this time, and be able to have you share some of the work that you're doing and what you see as things we need to focus on in the months and upcoming years ahead. So if we could maybe start, just to take a few minutes and talk a little bit about that. I would love to turn it over and let Bert maybe tell us a little bit about the work you've been doing in Atlantic City and some of what you're seeing as areas of need in your community.
Well, thank you, Amy. It's a pleasure to be here with you. And I tell you that this COVID epidemic has really had a major impact in our community. And as you know, Atlantic City, there's a lot of Latinos who happen to work in the casinos. Obviously, a lot of them been out of work. There's been a lot of great needs. Fortunately, we've had many community members come together to help a hand. I know that I've worked with the Hispanic Association and some other groups in getting some of the basic needs in terms of meals. And that's been a great success story in terms of addressing some of the food insecurities that are taking place. And I know there are other programs that are taking place in terms of making sure that there are meals that, you know, when you have no money coming in at all. And the reality is that we have folks who are not able to collect unemployment, are not able to meet those basic needs. So it's really a bad situation here, but I'm so happy that our community is coming together and that we have the leadership in this state, at least, to help us through this COVID crisis that is not as bad as in other locations where there isn't a leadership. And I know that right down from the mayor up to the governor's office here in the state, there's been some real leadership in terms of getting us prepared to address this crisis.
Yeah. I think you're being humble when you talk about this food distributions, because I saw you working so hard. Your whole family showed up to make sure that every family that was in need in Atlantic City would get something to take home to get them through that time. And you were just tireless in your effort. And you also really tried to tailor it to the people you were serving, which I know is so important, making sure that people have not just food to put on their table, but food that they want to eat, that their families would be open and willing and know how to prepare. And that was so personal, because I think at a time when people are really struggling, they also don't want to feel like in every way that they're kind of less than.
No, I just played a small role compared to all the other folks that came to the table, that helped prepare and pack and do the distribution. And this was a community effort. So kudos to all the folks that really stepped up and participated and saw the need. And we got a lot of donations as well that came in with food and other organizations that participated. So happy to see that happen here in Atlantic County.
Yeah, you make that happen. Well, will you tell us, Mayor, a little bit about some of the challenges you're seeing in your community?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me and your staff. I really appreciate that you're giving us this opportunity, not only to tell you our story from Cumberland County and the city of Millville, but also for South Jersey, for all of us here. So we appreciate that. So as Bert has said, this pandemic has really struck us very hard. Millville has a small downtown business. Thank God, some are still surviving. I'm hearing horror stories that some may not come back. And it's because of this pandemic. And it's really that much. What else can we do at this point? Because we know the unknown is the way I see it. The thing here, it's here, it leaves, it comes back. But I will say this, that it has hit us hard. I'm hoping that our business owners stand up to it, that they're able to fight this. It's a tough economy right now. There's nothing that we can do at this point right now to shade away from this. It's unfortunate, but I think the business owners that we have here have been here for a while, have been through some tough times, and I think they're here to fight. I'm just hoping that they all stay. Yeah. But for Latinos, I want to talk about the Latinos too, that I am so happy to be here with you and these two young men here, because we're representing Latinos, and I know you spoke about some numbers, and I don't want to get into that, but there's a message there. There's a strong message that we are tired of the old and we're ready to move forward with the new. And I like those numbers from 2018 to 2020 now. So that goes to credit to you, Amy, and who we're supporting. And I know that you're being supported by Cumberland County, and I can't wait for that date that we're celebrating. So
thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I was in Cumberland County today. Yep. It was great to be with you, and I was able to participate in Bridgeton's 100th anniversary of the women's suffrage movement, which was fantastic. It was just a perfect day.
Yes,
the only negative part that I can say about my day today was that while I was in Bridgeton, I thought I could do a drive-by of Century Bakery, which I just for the first time experienced last Saturday. And I went by today because now that I know it's there, I can't drive past it and not stop. And they're closed on Mondays.
Yes,
that was the real heartbreak of the day. But then we were in Vineland and we got to visit with some of the voters in Vineland and get some signs out. And I'll be back with all of you coming up on Saturday in Cumberland County again.
Great.
Thanks. And Will, maybe you could talk about some of the challenges you're seeing right now.
Well, first of all, I want to thank you once again for your outreach into the Latino community. I personally picked a lot of blueberries, tomatoes, and strawberries in Cumberland County with the kids. And celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month, we should all know that a large number of Latinos would come from Puerto Rico to South Jersey to work as farm workers, and then they would go back for 6 months and then come back. My father was one of those. One of the things that I want to say, Amy, is that people are saying that you're running because you're a Kennedy, and what I say to them is, the Kennedys didn't marry you. You married your passion to the Kennedy family, and I appreciate that. With respect to the Latino community, I think that there's a lot of voter suppression that is occurring, anywhere from not actually getting the ballots to them, lack of bilingual personnel to help them not only at the polling places, but also in helping them fill out and making sure they put the small envelope ballot into the big envelope ballot. And I think that that's one of our challenges. Our challenge is, a magician always says that it's not the mechanics of the trick, but it's getting people to believe.
Yes.
So we have to let Latinos believe that we can, in fact, make a difference in this election. The mechanics we can do. Mm-hmm. The issue is Let them believe that you're a different candidate, you're a different kind of Democrat. You're a Democrat that's going to fight for the Latino community, not only in South Jersey, but across the country, where there are almost 29 million Latino eligible voters. And my family and I'm sure Bert and the mayor all support you a lot, and we want to double the number of votes that you'll have in the primary election.
Oh, I love that. That's great. Well, as we're going around the district, I'm hearing about a lot of ways that people are struggling. You mentioned farm workers, and I know that COVID has taken a particularly hard toll on frontline workers, a lot of whom are women and people of color, we know are the hardest hit, also the most at risk of losing their jobs during this time, and that we're going to need to do more, as the mayor's talking about small business, to support small businesses. But also I know part of Vice President Biden's plan is to Build Back Better, and that includes supporting minority-owned businesses and making sure that they have what they need to start up again once this is past us. But how do you see us really supporting the Latinx community where you are? What kinds of things do you think really are issues maybe moving forward that we could address locally, that we need federal support for, or that you just see the community needing to be more unified in? Bert, do you feel like there's some things in Atlantic City or maybe this district more broadly that just you're hopeful about?
Yes, definitely. And Alfredo mentioned his father coming here as a migrant farm worker. My dad did the same thing. But we do have quite a number of migrant workers here, and immigration is a big issue, obviously. And I know the support for Dreamers, support for the farm laborers, all these are very critical and important issues. And we know that the guy that you're running against has really flipped the coin on that regard in terms of supporting immigrants, and we're looking for that direction, for that support. We're not advocating for open borders. What we're hoping is for good, sound reforms in a pathway to citizen for many folks, but especially right off the top, the Dreamers. I mean, I have family who are one member that's a Dreamer, and we have others that have immigration issues that it's been percolating for too long, and it needs to be addressed.
Yeah, don't you? Unfortunately, I think I've heard from not just my opponent, but in the broad kind of attack on trying to move any immigration policy forward, the idea of open borders, that any progress, I think, gets stalled because we're just becoming so polarized instead of let's work for real humane solutions and come up with a path forward. And that does not mean that anybody who's trying to support immigration reform is looking for open borders. We're talking about how do we help real people in our community who are playing vital roles to become American citizens and be able to actively participate in our country. And, Dreamers is a great place to start because they are so entrenched in all of our values and ideals here. And I would love to be part of working on a path forward.
Another issue is healthcare. Obviously, healthcare is a big issue for many. The attempts to eliminate pre-existing conditions and to eliminate the safety net in terms of healthcare, I think it's a big mistake. Folks need, in this crisis that we're going through, we need our healthcare.
We need it. We know that either way, it's a huge expense in our country, whether people are putting off essential care because they simply can't afford it and then end up in the emergency room, or whether we address it head on and make sure that we're protecting those with pre-existing conditions and working to actively lower the cost of prescription drugs and expanding access to the Affordable Care Act. Right now, it's unbelievable to me that we're dealing with an administration who would be trying to roll that back in the middle of a pandemic. It's concerning. I think we know during this virus, we need people to be able to get the life-saving treatment that is required and move forward so that we can let people have the health care that they need when they need it without it bankrupting their families. Yeah. How about Mayor? Do you have any ideas about in the next couple months or in hopefully the next administration of how you'd like to see your community supported? You want to see some more help, whether it's through the economy or just in growing the local Main Street, right? That seems to be so hard right now to get it back up on its feet.
Devastating. So I'm glad you brought that up because we need representation that's going to hear us in South Jersey. I think Salem, Cumberland, and Gloucester County, Atlantic County, Cape May County, we're not heard enough, I think. And I think Millville, specifically Bridgeton and Vineland, I think we get like the short end of the stick, so to speak. We're overlooked. As you know, our major industries has left a lot of our cities here in Cumberland County. So we need to look for new businesses to come in so that we can support our local people so they can go back to work. So the business on High Street, Main Street can reopen and be, back up and living again, so to speak. So I think it's so important that we have you there. You're going to win and that you hear us. You're right here from South Jersey. So we're going to have a voice. That phone's going to be ringing a lot because we need that representation that's going to listen to us. And if we don't get that, I really feel bad. I don't even want to think about it. On top of this pandemic, if we don't get the support just to get back and open the doors, it's not going to look good. So I'm a very positive thinking person. I like to think positive. I like to move forward. So I'm hoping that with this new change that we're able to have a brighter Cumberland County, Gloucester County, Salem County, and that we can move forward and see things progress positively.
Yeah, thank you. I think as we're talking about how we support small businesses and how we bring new jobs, we would really be remiss if we weren't talking about how important and intertwined the investment in big infrastructure projects would be with this. Everything from making sure that the roads are there to broadband access, right? Because we know that it's very hard to lure people to our area or bring them back home if they're from here, bring them back so that they can work from this area if they don't have reliable services, if they can't jump on the expressway, parkway, highway and get where they need to go. And bigger industries aren't going to see this as a place for distribution if they can't access that.
Absolutely. We have Route 55, so that's a plus for us.
Yeah.
See, one of the things I see is that access to healthcare, like Bert said, access to economic development, but the most important thing is access to our elected officials who are going to hear us. Right now, we have an individual that turns a deaf ear to the concerns of minority communities in South Jersey. Access to you have demonstrated through your primary campaign that you are available, that you are accessible, that you do care about people as a mother, as a teacher. And I hear a lot of people that I know that live in the 2nd Congressional District like I do, that you are very sympathetic to the student that you had at your school, and that you do it from the perspective of a mother who understands what it's like to raise children in this society, particularly now when all of that stuff is coming out of Washington, D.C. It's not only going to affect our youth, it's going to affect the older people too. Healthcare affects us. The fact that Social Security is on the line is going to really affect a lot of our seniors who work all their lives to save the little bit of money they have to lose their Social Security benefits. That's going to be criminal.
Criminal. Yeah. I mean, this is people that have paid into this system. I'm very worried about the Social Security and making sure that we are immediately bolstering that system, because so many families rely on it. And without that security, I'm concerned about what it's going to do to South Jersey, that already has some of the poorest communities in the state. As many of you have said on this call, you know, South Jersey's been neglected for a long time. We haven't had somebody that's really able to deliver results for South Jersey. We know we're paying a lot in taxes, that we aren't getting that money back reinvested here, you know, whether it's going to North Jersey or whether it's staying in DC. We need it returned to this community so that we can build our families and our opportunities in our area. You know, Mayor, you said that you have your grandchild right next door, and I love that. I mean, I think that's what we all want. We want our families to be able to stay local and have access to high quality schools right in our neighborhood, and make sure that there's job opportunities for our kids and our grandkids, so that they'll be able to just, you know, live and build on the family center that really provides that stability for all of us. I'm so grateful that I live nearby my mom and dad and my brothers, and that's why I'm here in South Jersey, to be with them. That's what this is all about. You know, that's the important things in life. But if you can't make a living, if you can't put food on the table, you have to follow the work and the opportunity. Yeah. You know, I know we're meant to be focusing more on the celebrating of this month and Hispanic heritage. And I wanted to find out if there's anything happening that everybody should know about, that are all going to be tuning in, and what could we show up at? What can we do? How can we get excited and engaged? We know we want everyone to vote, but are there any celebrations happening in the community?
Yeah, I have to tell you that we're in the Hispanic Heritage Month, but you know, all our families are focused on the crisis at hand in terms of this devastation we're going through COVID right now. We wish we had time to celebrate, and we haven't. I know last year, this time last year, we had a big Latino festival with 7,000 people. We're at Beta Field in Atlantic City. We had a Havana Night celebration that took place, and a lot of other events that took place. This year, unfortunately, because of what's happening with COVID, you know, we're celebrating in our homes. Unfortunately, that's the reality. So there are no big events planned here in the county. I do want to make the pitch that, you know, to celebrate Hispanic heritage, we need people who could stand up and speak for us.
But I also somebody told me that there might be a car caravan with social distancing and masks that is going to go through those areas where there's a large concentration of Latinos with Amy, like we used to do in Puerto Rico, where you have these huge Latino caravans drive through the town.
Okay.
I love that.
Fiesta, fiesta.
Yeah, I mean, music out there, you got our candidate out there, you social distance, and that's safe. That's what I heard. I don't know.
Oh, that would be fun. That would be fun. I wish we were doing in-person things, but you know, we're doing some visibility stops, which are kind of fun. But we'll be out, as I mentioned before, we're going to be in Cumberland County. What's happening out your way, Mayor?
As Bert said, I said, you know, I come from a large family. There were 7 of us. I was the youngest of 7. I'm staying in contact with my brother and sisters via the phone. You know, thank God I have the grandchild next door, my son, my daughter-in-law, and my other son lives in Millville also. But, you know, we're not having anybody over. We're not having anybody for dinner. But, you know, we're celebrating within ourselves, you know, and this is a very important month for all Hispanics, you know. I like it because it stands that not only that it's a Hispanic month, but personally for those that came from Puerto Rico or some other island, whether you're Dominican or anything else, Cuban, it makes you feel good that the United States of America is celebrating this month for us. And but it's tough. COVID has really, really hampered a lot of parties that Hispanics like having. Am I right, gentlemen?
Yes.
So, we are partiers and we like
Yeah.
to dance a lot.
Yeah,
So-
actually, we usually have an annual event there in Millville, right? The
Exactly.
salsa
Salsa, that's
event
right.
that we have there. Unfortunately,
With
we
my-
haven't been able to have it this year.
My great friend Ralphie Padilla, the mayor of Pittsgrove Township. So, but listen, we're celebrating within ourselves, and the time will come when we're going to let it loose, and the shoes, be back on the dance floor. So, at this point, I know of nothing that's going on in Cumberland County.
Well, I do know on Saturday that they're going to rename the street Puerto Rico Way on Saturday. I think that's maybe at 11 in Vineland. So I'm going to be out that way for the
Awesome.
event and make sure that we're doing that. But I know a lot of what everybody's been doing is service. At least
Yes.
the three advocates that I hear have with me today, you've all been engaging in some kind of service during this time. And so I'm encouraging everybody to do that. And I think the most important thing that we can do is not just making sure that we have a plan for voting, but that you are encouraging your friends to register if they're not registered yet, because this year it's easier than ever being available online. For those people that are very concerned about the process, I think that this president has undermined the process a lot. And we know that in New Jersey, you can track your ballot. So you're able to look online, make sure that it was received. And we also still need people to fill out the census. So if you're already online and you're watching right now and you haven't filled out the census, do it while you're already on the computer. And you can also check your registration if you're not sure, because we've heard, sometimes people think that they're registered, but you need to update your address, or there may be some other things that are not accurate, that you can just check your registration, make sure it's accurate. And then, Mayor, in Millville, do you have a secure drop box at the municipal building?
We do. Yes, we do. Right at the front steps. It's there. It's been there now for about 2 weeks, I believe. So it's there. Drop it off.
Excellent. And we know ballots are coming out there this week.
Yes, that's correct. So they should be getting them sometime, I think by Friday. I'm not 100%, but I think it's Friday. So we'll be filling up, and there'll be a line in front of that box, I'm sure.
That's right.
I
That's
did
what
want to mention.
Yeah.
I did want to mention that in Atlantic County, there is a new organization, culturaunida.org, that is a nonpartisan effort to make sure that people get the information they need in Spanish. So it's hola@culturaunida.org is the email. Anyone in Atlantic County that wants information, anyone that that is having an issue with English that would like that information in Spanish, please contact this organization, Cultura Unida, to get more information.
That's excellent. And I know on our website, we're going to have a number for a hotline if people are just not quite sure what to do. I'd love to be able to do a short video or something where we can just go through the steps, not of telling people who to vote for, but just how to fill out the ballot and make sure that everybody's comfortable with what to do and what it should look like, and don't rip off the flap on the back. Make sure that you just stick it, because there's no machines on the day of. It's no machine voting at polling places. This is an all paper ballot election. So please let everybody know. And I am so grateful for your time on tonight, everyone.
Let me ask you something.
Yeah.
Is Biden scheduled to visit South Jersey?
I don't know. I wish he would, but
yeah. How can we get him to come down here?
I know Jill was in, so she came, but I would love to see him come. And I know that they're focusing a lot on those swing states, so we may have to wait until after the Congress. I know. Well, I just know that we're going to need leaders like Vice President Biden and Kamala Harris if we want to see the changes that we talked about today if we really want to expand healthcare, if we want an immigration policy that we believe in and that we know is going to be in our best interests, and if we want to see our diplomacy around the world respected again in a way where we're interacting with our allies and countries that are our neighbors, that we need somebody else to take the helm here. So I'm excited for that, and I think that we need to turn out the vote. So for everybody that's watching, please make sure that that you're telling your friends and getting out the word and getting them all to make sure they have a plan for returning those ballots. Thanks so much, everybody, for joining on.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
We're ready to continue to work hard.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Excellent. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.